The idea kind of just stemmed from us trying to diversify how we actually track trends in music. And, we look at different technology platforms and the various things that they offer. And what what Twitter offers from a music perspective, I think, is really interesting because you can identify trends before they actually start hitting consumption platforms like Spotify and Apple Music just by looking at what's being talked about. So we thought it would be a really interesting thing if we could start looking at the conversations that are starting to organically bubble up on Twitter and see if that would have any correlation to how music charts on some of our tentpole charts like the Billboard Hot 100 and the Billboard 200. And I think, what we're going to find is that a lot of the things that start ranking on this chart, you're ultimately going to see end up on other charts and end up ranking in Spotify and Apple Music and some of the other places that music fans actually consume music. So we thought that was a really cool story to tell. And Twitter is the ideal partner for that because conversation is what organically happens on the platform. That couldn't be a better place to actually produce this.
This is awesome, seeing how this has been conceived, and we also know it's going to go live pretty soon. Sarah, timeline, like how soon are we talking here?
I think we're going to see a rollout starting this summer. We're really excited. We have been talking to a lot of advertisers who want to align with this content, and we're busy building the data pipeline with Billboard so that it can capture as accurately as possible the conversation that's happening around music, artists, songs, albums, all of it.
This has been a big year for Twitter as well, Sarah, in some of the new features that have come to the platform. And so many different users have seen the experience change. How will the experience change one more time, as well as for the best here, especially given a lot of the music consumption that so many of the users already do on the platform too?
Yeah, I think this is just a natural iteration on what's already happening on the platform. So music globally is the number one most talked about topic on Twitter. And so by delivering this Twitter curated list that we're going to be able to be publishing every 24 hours, it's actually giving back to fans the results of what they're naturally doing. So what we see, and Julian touched on this a little bit, what we see a lot on Twitter is things that might not even happen directly on the platform could be happening on the outside world, whether it's something on another platform or a music festival in non-COVID times or a performer on Saturday Night Live, for example. Those topics and artists and songs then trend on Twitter. So how this is evolving the platform is basically just giving users a list that's capturing what they're doing and the power of their tweets and the power of their conversation and how that actually impacts culture.
Certainly. Julian, how does this benefit artists as well?
I think it's a great thing for the industry. It's a great thing for artists because they're going to be able to track how things are unfolding in real time. Because if certain songs are starting to trend on this chart, there's a reason for that, right? If something goes from not being on the chart to number 5 or from 10 to number 1, there's a lot behind why that chart position actually changed so much. And it's going to be because there are different stories and different things driving it on Twitter. So being able to track that in real time on a day-to-day basis as somebody in the industry or somebody that's actually creating music themselves, it's going to be cool because it's almost like a real-time feedback loop. It could help them figure out where they want to market moving forward. It could help them figure out, what they want to do with that song going into the next few days, weeks, of that release. So I think it's going to be a really interesting thing to get a real-time feedback loop from fans. Even songs could start trending on this chart even before they get released. And you could start to see the excitement build. So I think artists are really going to like to see, how their songs are tracking as far as the way people are talking about it. And Twitter's really the only place that you can kind of do that at scale and do it in a real time nature. So I think they're really gonna be keen on tracking this thing and paying attention to what happens on it.
And Sarah, with a high touch trending segment like this or portion of the platform with so much engagement that we're already anticipating, even just talking about it, monetization likely hops into the mind of many people, myself included, sitting here at the New York Stock Exchange. Of course, it's how businesses can continue to monetize experiences like this. What does that look like, that strategy look like for Twitter?
Sure. So this is all built under our umbrella of Twitter Amplify, which is a turnkey way for advertisers to align with our content partners' content. And Billboard is one of our best partners in the Amplify world. So basically, the brands will be able to align with the chart itself and actually have branding on that chart. But what Billboard's adding in that I think makes this even more compelling is live segments giving context to why the chart is what it is, what you're seeing, what those trends mean, where they're coming from. Why is Prince all of a sudden appearing? It might be the anniversary of his death or his birthday or something like that. And so brands will be able to actually run pre-roll in front of the content that Billboard is pushing out, as well as align with the branding on the chart. And there's, I'm sure, more opportunities. We're going to have custom polls and Twitter moments that are capturing the best of from that week. And then also, as you mentioned, we're moving into more audio. So we've got Twitter Spaces, and I can see a world where this starts to get an extension where we do a weekly Twitter Space and brands are able to align there. So it's really, there's a ton of opportunities for brands.
Okay, well, for both of you, it sounds like this could be launching at a time where it's potentially that controversial season of who has the song of the summer. So we will be checking in on this in the future for sure.